My name is Tess Myers. I'm an artist. I focus on watercolor portraiture. I started very early. I always liked painting and drawing people, found faces to be very interesting. And it wasn't until, I think, 2016, after several other careers, that I gave myself permission to really dig deep into portraiture. I started painting my friends along the way, and it just kind of rolled from there. I started with watercolor because I was living in a tiny San Francisco apartment. I was in software at this time, and I really wanted to be making art again. I had spent a lot of time switching into a sustainable career that would pay the bills, and I was missing making art. So I figured, what can I fit? What can I possibly fit into this tiny little room of an apartment? And it was watercolor. One of the reasons I make art is because it is the way of exploring the universe, of exploring my world. It's a way of exploring humans in a way that makes me feel very safe. I get to do it while I'm alone. I get to spend hours poring over photos of somebody. Maybe I know them or maybe I don't, but I come to love them a little bit. I think that everyone I've ever painted, I love a little bit. It's a way of connecting with humanity across a wall of paper. I have several projects that I'm working on right now. One of the big ones is teaching. I have several core classes, 2 multi-week series. One that's, I call it an intro course, but it's not really an intro course. It's just intended to be a relatively tolerable introduction to a lot of material. My next course after that is my advanced course, and that's where I start throwing new and interesting things at my students. So now I assume that everyone has a solid understanding of those core techniques. And then we start thinking about, what are things that are hard to paint? How do we paint glasses? Beards, hair, all things like this. Working with really dark skin tones, really light skin tones, everything in between, working with different lighting conditions, the difference between reflected light and light that's been absorbed and transluced back to the viewer. And so what you may be able to see behind me is some examples from my advanced portraiture, and actually some from my intro portraiture. When I make art, I often feel like I'm unraveling a thread. I don't always know the direction I'm headed in. Sometimes I wish I did, but I often feel that I'm following the next thing that makes sense. And often that means getting really lost in technical details. I know what I want it to look like, and so I'm going to do my best to make it look like that. And then things are going to happen along the way that are going to change my plan, because the best laid plans of mice and men are often really undone by watercolor. So I really appreciate those unexpected things that happen along the way. I feel very honored when somebody lets me paint them. I mostly paint people that I know. I've painted commissions of people that I didn't know, but when somebody lets me paint them, they're being very vulnerable for me, and I have a responsibility to be careful with that and to be thoughtful in how I paint, which is sometimes terrifying. I don't paint in a vacuum. I paint people.